Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Lessons at Fingertips. Here we discuss on some important topics in really simple words so that it's easier for you all to understand and put things in mind. Today our topic of discussion is going to be consumer's choice. So I'm going to add here a lot of definitions and concepts and we will just in short revise everything. Okay. So the thing is, the first thing we will discuss is utility. What is utility? Utility is simply the want satisfying power of a commodity. Any commodity when you are consuming, why do you consume it? Because it is useful to you. It is providing you some utility. It is providing you some satisfaction, right? So that is why you consume it. So that is called utility. So utility is a satisfaction a consumer derives out of consumption of a commodity. That is the want satisfying power of a commodity. Got it? Now, there are certain characteristics of utility. Now, before that, you must remember two things. First of all, utility, in case of utility, okay, we have what? Two types of utility. One is the cardinal utility, one is the ordinal utility. In case of cardinal utility, it is a measurable utility, and ordinal utility it is based on preferences, not measurable. Remember it. Utility can be, first of all, it was said that utility cannot be measurable. Then Friedman said that yes, utility can be measurable. Okay. So, on the basis of that, we have two types. One is the cardinal utility, one is the ordinal utility. Now, cardinal utility, how are we going to measure it? How in terms of utils. What is the unit? That is called as utils. And in terms of in the cardinal utility, we have these concepts of total utility, marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility, law of equimarginal utility. All these concepts are under the cardinal utility. In case of ordinal utility, it is based on the preferences, not measuring numerically on the basis of preferences. So, how do we do that? On the basis of the indifference curve. That we will discuss in the next video. Here we are going to discuss some topics related to the cardinal utility. Now you see here what are the characteristics of utility. First of all, utility is a subjective in nature. It is not the same for everyone, right? It is very much subjective in nature. Got it? Next is it is not measurable. Well, utility was considered to be not measurable, but later on was definitely Milton Friedman said that yes, utility can be measured in terms of utils. So earlier it was said what utility cannot be measurable, because you see it keeps on differing from person to person, right? If you are drinking when you are very thirsty, you are drinking a glass of water. That glass of water will give you much more satisfaction than the second glass of water. How are you going to measure the satisfaction? How much satisfaction that glass of water is giving you? You can measure only in terms of price, isn't it? Whenever you are paying a price for some commodity, then you will see if you are very thirsty, you need a bottle of water, they are charging you 10 rupees, okay, you can give. For the second bottle of water, you are never going to give 10 rupees or you are never going to give 15 rupees for that, isn't it? Because you have less now need for that, isn't it? It is going to provide you less utility. So on the basis of money, maybe we can measure, but usually for a glass of water, cup of tea, we cannot just measure it, isn't it? Now the third one is utility is relative in nature. It is as it is subjective, it is relative in nature. Okay, it keeps on differing from person to person. One glass of water will give me what satisfaction? It is not going to give some other person, isn't it? So, suppose I am very thirsty. So, if I drink a glass of water, the satisfaction that I am going to get, other person might not get, isn't it? So, that is what relative in nature. Utility is different from usefulness. Usefulness is a different term. Utility is a different term. Now, why do we say utility and usefulness are different terms? See, where utility is the one satisfying power, right? Now, even if a commodity is not useful, still that commodity can give us satisfaction. For example, you take the example of cigarette. Okay, so maybe cigarettes are not useful to us, isn't it? What is the use of cigarettes? It's not no use. But still, the people who are smoking, they are getting some kind of satisfaction from that, isn't it? So that is the utility of the particular cigarette. Got it? So usefulness and utility are different concepts. Got it? I would also say one thing, why is it called as subjective, because you see whenever if you are thirsty, you are drinking a glass of water, then how much satisfaction it is going to provide you, that may vary. That means what? It will depend on your need. That you see, if you can be like very thirsty, you can be little bit thirsty. So how much satisfaction that glass of water is giving you, that may vary. Okay, that is why it is called as subjective. Because it is subjective, we also call utility to be relative in nature, because it differs from consumer to consumer. Next, you see consumer equilibrium can be approached by two approaches. One is the cardinal utility, one is the ordinal utility. Cardinal utility says that utility can be measured in terms of utils, and ordinal utility states that utility cannot be measured. It is done in terms of preferences. Now we will refer to word total utility. What is the total utility? It is the sum total of all the utility that a commodity is providing. Okay, after every unit of consumption, the total utility derived from the consumption of that particular commodity is a total utility. So refers to the total satisfaction derived from the by the consumer from consumption of a specific commodity. So we call it that total utility. And what is marginal utility? It is a change in the total utility due to additional unit of commodity within a given period of time. Okay, the change which is occurring. Suppose you have taken first you are taking what, 10 glasses of water, then you are having what, 9 glasses, then 8, then 7, like this it's keep on going. So 10 glasses of water is providing you 100 utility. 9 glasses will definitely provide you something less, maybe 92 utility. 8 glasses of water will be providing you more or less, maybe 70 utility. So this way there are the changes, right? So with every additional unit of commodity, the changes that is taking place in the satisfaction level as in terms of utility, that we call as marginal utility. So what we can say marginal utility, that TU total utility from nth product minus total utility from n minus 1th product. Got it? So this is the formula of marginal utility, and we have what total utility is nothing but sum total of all these marginal utility. Okay. Now let us take the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. Remember one thing, total utility first increases at an increasing rate, then increases at a decreasing rate, and reaches maximum, then starts falling. This is the way how total utility increases. You see here total utility, we have 3 scenes. Like here the marginal utility is positive, marginal utility becomes 0, marginal utility becomes negative. Marginal utility is positive till when total utility is increasing. Once total utility reaches the maximum, marginal utility becomes 0. Once total utility starts falling, marginal utility becomes negative. Okay. Now when total utility is increasing at an increasing rate, marginal utility is at here. When increasing at a decreasing rate, marginal utility starts falling, and when reaches maximum, marginal utility is 0. When total utility starts falling, marginal utility becomes negative. This is the relation between total utility and marginal utility. Let's move on to law of diminishing marginal utility. When the amount of commodity consumed increases, other things remaining constant, the total utility increases at an increasing rate, then increases at a decreasing rate, becomes maximum, and then starts falling. This is the law of diminishing marginal utility, that when the total utility starts falling, the marginal utility becomes negative. Got it? So you will just have to say other things remaining constant. When a consumer is consuming a commodity, total utility increases at an increasing rate, then increases at a decreasing rate, reaches maximum, then starts falling. Marginal utility becomes 0 when total utility reaches maximum, and then becomes negative when total utility starts falling. This is the law of diminishing marginal utility, that with every additional unit of consumption, the marginal utility derived from the additional unit of consumption is decreasing. Got it? Next we have assumptions here. What are the assumptions for application of law of diminishing marginal utility? First thing is, utility is measurable. We are taking here the cardinal utility. So utility is measurable in terms of utils. Second is all the units of commodity must be identical. It must not be that some products are very much of high quality, some are very low quality. No, all the products must be identical while you are applying this law of diminishing marginal utility. Third thing is unit of good must be standard. The unit of good must be standard. That means what? It should not be something very less or very too much. Okay, it should be as standard. If you are measuring a glass of water, then it should be in terms of a glass of water only, not coming from a barrel of water or just a sip of water. No. If you are measuring, it should be a standard one. Maybe a bottle of water, so all should be a bottle of water. Got it? Of the same bottle. Next is what? Consumer is rational. Definitely consumer should be rational. Consumer should not be someone biased. He should not be biased like, I will just have a Bisleri bottle and not a cane liquor bottle, whatever. So the consumer should be rational. He should not be biased. Okay. Next is no change in substitute. Definitely keep it in mind whenever you are consuming a product, there should not be any change in substitute, because if there is a change, then what will happen that you are not going to purchase that particular commodity, but you might move on to the substitute as you are a rational consumer, isn't it? So rational consumer will go for the substitutes if the substitutes are available, or maybe there is a change, maybe that is available at a lesser price. So that must not happen. Keep the thing in mind that here we have taken other things remaining constant ceteris paribus. Last one is continuous consumption. There should not be a gap in the consumption. Like in the first year you have consumed one thing, after 6 months you are consuming something. No, the consumption should be a continuous process. The gap between the consumption should be the same. It should be continuous. The last concept is law of equimarginal utility. What does it state? It states that the consumer must allocate his income in such a way that the utility derived from the last unit spent on each commodity should be equal. What does that imply? A consumer must allocate his income in such a way that the last unit of money spent on each commodity is equal or will give the same marginal utility. So how you are going to allocate your income? You must allocate your income so that the last unit of money that is spent on each commodity will provide you the same level of marginal utility. So you see here, we will say that the marginal utility derived from X commodity by the price of X must be equal to the marginal utility derived from Y commodity by the price of Y. That is the marginal utility per unit of money. So I hope you guys have understood this. Please do hit a like and subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and comment in the comment section below. Till then, bye-bye.